What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Fresh Cuts. It's the first one of 2023, and what's the best way to start it but then to talk about a movie that I don't know who saw coming? Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I am your host, Brett Parker, and joining me is a first-time guest, and I'm so excited he's here. It is Brad from the Cinema Guys. Welcome in, sir.
Thank you for having me. What a movie to come on for the first time.
Yes,
Let me tell you.
The great thing is being able to see people that I've become friends with or that I've been able to talk to on Twitter, talk about going to see the movie. I'm like, yes, I can do an episode on this show. I can ask them if they want to come on. Hopefully, even if they're doing an episode or whatever. But thank you again for coming on to talk about.
No, absolutely.
Whatever
you
this
the
was.
Perfect person to come talk about a movie like this.
This is gonna be a lot of fun. So, let's talk about the first time we heard about this movie. Did you remember it like back when they first announced it, like hearing about it?
I did, and it was one of those, like, they announced this, I think it was like shortly after the big news of like, this is public domain now. This original book is public domain. Mm-hmm. And then it was almost immediately like, oh, we're making a horror movie. There's a horror movie coming out. And I'm like, that was fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they already had it filmed too. Like, I think they were ready to go when this happened. And I was like, interesting, very interesting. I'm like, I'm game. Yeah. This could be fun. I mean, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, listen, I grew up watching Winnie the Pooh.
I think we all did.
Yeah, we all did. I mean, it's been around the book came out, I think, in the early 1900s. I couldn't tell you the exact day. I think it was maybe the teens or 20s when A.A. Milne wrote the stories, which I actually still own. I had like each story. They came in like a booklet, like a box set of each individual Winnie the Pooh book. I still have those from when I was a kid. So Winnie the Pooh is my childhood. And to be honest, I think if most people, when they would see something like this, are like, oh, I can't watch this. It's going to ruin my childhood. Don't worry, everybody. It's not going to ruin your childhood because of the way they made this movie. It's by name. It's really a movie that it's by name, and you have characters that are named after the characters in those stories. And that's about it. It's really it's not like it's an animated film that has the exact likenesses of all the characters you loved from your childhood doing the despicable things that these characters do in this movie. We'll get to it a little bit more in a bit, but yeah, I just remember seeing this going, this is going to be so stupid, but I can't wait to see it.
Oh, I was the same way. I was like, I am all in for this. And then when you first see Pooh, you're just like, okay, he kind of has like the face, a little bit, the look.
Yeah.
But like you said, other than that, you have names: Pooh, Piglet, Christopher Robin, and other mentions.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about it a little bit. What were your thoughts on it? Of course, in the beginning of the show, we'll do non-spoilers. So we'll tell our thoughts, non-spoilers, and then we'll give you guys a spoiler warning, because this is currently just in theaters as of right now. But I know in a few weeks, it's probably going to be on some streaming service, either Shudder, Screenbox might pick it up, or it's going to be on demand somewhere. So don't worry.
This movie, after I saw it, I mean, this is a ripe for Tubi movie. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Honestly.
Absolutely.
And I went to see it. I went with my wife. My wife I had 2 tickets to see it, and she's like, oh, I'll go with you. And I was like, you're going to hate it, but okay, cool. Like, this is awesome. We get a night out away from the kids. And we walked out, and she absolutely hated the film. She hated it. She's like, there are parts I laughed, but I hated it. She's like, this is just dumb. And I look at her and I go, yeah, it's stupid, but I absolutely love this movie. Like, it's way dumb. Like, you laugh the entire way through this movie of everything, and like, kills are predictable, and the characters you just laugh at. But I'm just like, this is my type of movie that I can just mindlessly put on.
Yep.
And just, let's just have a good time for, hour and a half-ish or so.
Yeah, this is a Gerald movie. It's about an hour and a half, which is his domain there. He doesn't like anything more than that, which is okay. I'm right there with him. I always like to agree that movies shouldn't be more than like an hour 30, hour 40, because these Marvel
Especially
movies.
a movie like this.
Oh, absolutely. Like, what more were you gonna do? Do a few more chase scenes?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was worried, when Terrifier 2 came out and it was 2.5 hours, but I mean, that worked. I couldn't
yeah.
imagine a 2.5 hour Pooh, Blood, and Honey movie.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, I think there's a difference when you look at like Terrifier 2, when you watch it, it's an indie movie. It looks like an indie movie, but it's an original idea with, I mean, I'm not trying to take away what the director and the creators of this movie did. Like, I'm not saying there's no passion behind it, but why they did. I feel like why they did it because they could. Because they could.
I mean,
they're like, public domain? Absolutely. Let's go.
That's why they have announced like, oh, we're gonna do a Bambi one and we're gonna do a Peter Pan one, and now we're doing a sequel, and like they know.
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
like, we're gonna make a whole universe of this.
And to be honest, when you read like, you're saying Bambi and Peter Pan, I'm like, Peter Pan is the perfect, I think, recipe for a horror movie. Just the ideas you could do with Peter Pan. I mean, literally, he's taking kids to Neverland. I mean, that's easy right there. I'm not going to spoil it just in case that's the plot. But put, 2 and 2 together, you can figure it out.
In case you've never seen Peter Pan.
I know. It's terrifying as it is. But so, yeah, this was a movie. I went to see it with my brother. And it was shocking because my theater doesn't get a lot of movies like this. This was a Fathom event movie, which is most of the Fathom event movies they've been doing lately have been like re-releases, like The Thing's 40th anniversary. I know they did that, and I know their event, like we got an ad for Casablanca's anniversary, like it was the first time in 4K or something like that. So like that's what Fathom events is all about, but that's what we were getting. We weren't getting movies like this. We didn't get Terrifier 2 in our theater. We barely, like, we had an advertisement at my theater for the Fablemans, and I was excited, and then we never got the Fablemans. So like, that's my theater. We don't have an AMC. Right, we don't have those big ones. So I got to go with the flow here. But as soon as I saw this was playing at my theater, I said, I don't care how bad this is. And to be honest, this is the most expensive ticket I've purchased at my theater. I literally just spent $24 to go see Ant-Man in the next couple days. And I spent $27 on 2 tickets to this movie. So, but I had to take the opportunity.
Are usually a little pricier, but it's one of those things, like same way, like it's an opportunity to see this in the theater. I'm like, I want to see this.
I had to do it. I had to take the chance. I didn't care. I expected what I got. I did not walk out of this going, wow, that was way worse than I expected. No, I got what I expected.
Yeah, same. Absolutely the same.
And
it didn't blow me away or anything, but I'm like, that's what I wanted it expected to be, and it was. And you know what? I kind of liked it. I'll probably watch it again.
There was a lot of head turns looking at my brother, like, what just happened? And then walking out of the theater, I think literally walking from our seats to the car is just looking at each other going, what just happened? Like, what did we just witness for the last hour and 40 minutes? This was insane. But I don't regret it. This theater experience was one of the best theater experiences I've had in a while. The theater was almost full, which was shocking.
Ours was too.
People were laughing. They were like, it was a funny movie. There were some laugh out loud moments in this movie, but people were interacting with the movie, and I loved it. It wasn't like people talking. It was just people like, oh, are you serious? Like, what the like a lot of what the fucks and stuff like that. So, and I loved it. It was great. I think that's the experience you're looking for in something like this.
A lot of moments in the movie where maybe they weren't supposed to be laughable moments, but absolutely they were.
No, absolutely not. But hey, that's what they got.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, I'm not gonna say I loved it, but I went out not hating myself.
Yeah.
So. And I've watched a lot of bad movies in the last few days, so this wasn't one of them. So
I watch a lot of bad movies. If anybody watches my letterbox, they know. So this was a highlight of the week.
All right. So before we go into our spoiler portion of the show, let's go over some of the cast and crew of this movie. Just shout them out because this is an indie project. You like to shout out these indie creators. So this was directed by Rice Frake Waterfield. He also wrote the screenplay to the movie. Of course, this
And
is based.
His third movie within the last year. He's cranked out.
Wow, look at that. He's killing it. It says that this was his directorial debut
That's what it says.
on
That is funny.
Wikipedia, but I guess Wikipedia can be changed at all times. So
Yeah, because he released a movie, The Killing Tree, came out earlier, close to the holidays, came to Tubi, and it was a killer Christmas tree.
Okay.
And then he released Fire NATO, which I have not seen that one. Just a few months later, and then now this one.
Fire NATO. I mean, can't be any worse than Sharknado. But so of course, this is. I'm saying for all the audio listeners, I am air quoting this based on the Winnie the Pooh books by A.A. Milne and E.H. Shepard. It stars Nikolai Leone, Maria Taylor, Craig David Dosset, Chris Cordell. Ooh, I was like, Chris Cornell. That's not right. Natasha Rose Mills, Amber Doge Thorne, and Danielle Ronald. Craig David Dosset was the one who played Winnie the Pooh, so he's just the man behind the mask.
Yeah.
And Chris Cordell played Piglet, which again is just a man behind a mask.
Man behind the mask. Yep.
This budget. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
A few of these actresses. Like if you go watch Killing Tree, he uses some of the same actresses in it. Same with another movie, I believe. Producer was the same. Nutcracker Massacre. A lot of the same actresses. I watch bad movies, so I recognize some of these. I'm like, oh, that's they're from this movie. But
hey, that's awesome. The runtime says it was only 84 minutes. I looked at the runtime and said it was an hour 40.
Yeah, I was like, I think it was a little longer than that.
Oh, also, let's I want to shout out Toby Wynn Davies, who is the narrator in the beginning of this movie, who, to be honest, the beginning of this movie, when we get to spoilers, we break it down, is my favorite part of this movie. This opening scene is great.
Yeah.
Music was done by Andrew Scott Bell. I literally did not look up what past things that people have done in this movie because a lot of these people are indie. I know they've done other things. Brad will fill it in if he knows, since he watches a lot of these indie movies.
I'll do my best.
So this is based out of the UK, which the original Winnie the Pooh stories were based out of the United Kingdom because A. Milne is from the UK, or was. And so this actually premiered January 26th in Mexico and made over $1 million just in the Mexican market. And on a less than $100,000 budget.
I mean, there you go.
There you go.
You're already in the green.
Right. That's why we're getting a sequel to this movie.
Yes.
And it premiered in the UK March 10th of 2023, and then I think it premiered in the US on the 15th.
Yes.
For some reason, it doesn't tell me that. But currently,
and I think most theaters, it was like a one night only Fathom event.
They'd have like 2 showings.
Some theaters I think had an extended
Yeah.
run on them. Ours didn't. Ours was a one night only.
Yeah, it was a Wednesday, and it was a 7 and a 9:20 showing. So
okay.
And currently it's sitting at $2.5 million for its box office. So
hey, well, you know what? Good on them.
People are loving these schlocky indie horrors, and you know what?
Well, I think Terrifier 2 really set up this
absolutely
this success of like, you know what? If we release these indie horror, people are going to come see them.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously it is. I mean, Winnie the Pooh, it's made some good money on a very, very low budget.
Yeah, sure has. All right. Well, since we got all that out of the way, we are not going to be going into the spoiler section of the show. So we're going to be breaking down our likes and dislikes of this movie with spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, please leave. Go wait until the movie's out digitally or whatever, and then come back and listen to the rest of this review. If you don't give a shit, then stick around because we're about to spoil it. But like I said, there's not much to spoil about this movie. It's kind of cut and dry. So, but we're going to talk about it. So, Brad, kick us off. What were the things that you liked about this movie?
I did like some, I liked how they kind of twisted this little story. Like you talked about the animated beginning where it kind of sets up this story of how Pooh and Piglet and others kind of became what they are. Christopher Robin grew up, he left them, and now they basically become feral monsters that eat people. First, they start with poor Eeyore.
The goddamn the damn tombstone that they see looks like a child wrote out and says R.I.P. Eeyore. Like, okay, yes. That's what we're getting, guys. Or the 100-acre wood just plastered on a wooden plank. Yeah. Holy shit.
Just a plank nailed up, 100-acre wood.
This looks like a safe place to walk to.
Right from the beginning, you like, all right, I know what I'm walking into.
Absolutely.
This is going to be low budget. Christopher Robin with his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I did like some of the kills. A lot of them were predictable. Like, it was completely set up. It's, a scene's happening, like, oh, they're probably gonna die like this.
Yep.
And then it did, like the pool. You're like, all right, someone's gonna get a sledgehammer. Like, it's nothing shocking.
No.
But I don't know. I enjoyed it. A few of the kills were pretty good. Like, when he slowly stuck the girl to the wall with the machete,
mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this is cool. And then some of them were ridiculous. And then, there's I did like Pooh's mask. I didn't as much like Piglet's mask.
Because it wasn't Piglet. Because I feel like the Pooh mask was supposed to look like Pooh. But the Piglet mask was just a wild boar mask. I was like, I guess it was supposed to be like, oh, this is what Piglet would look like grown up and fair. I was like, yeah, but it kind of throws me off. But whatever.
Yeah, and how come Pooh is still kind of got the, the smooth, kind of almost cute face in a way.
Yeah.
But poor Piglet, he's just a boar with big horns coming out of the big teeth and everything.
Ooh.
And this movie is a letdown. There's no happy ending to this film.
No. It just ends, and you're just like, I looked over, that's it?
I mean, you think, okay, the one girl who's had it rough and everything, maybe she'll get away. No, she doesn't. He's like, you left, and slits her throat, and I'm like, holy shit.
I was why did you show us all this backstory for her and all this thing to make us feel bad for her? We're just like, yep, she's gonna die.
Yeah,
there's nothing.
Kill her anyway.
We're gonna keep the one character you actually thought died in the beginning of this movie to survive to the end. Okay. This movie is just batshit crazy.
Oh, it is. And there is so much in this movie where it doesn't make sense. Like, Christopher Robin disappears for a good 20 minutes. Like, they release him after he was captured, and then all of a sudden he's gone.
Yeah.
And eventually shows up, in the last 10 minutes. You're like, where the hell have you been this whole time? As they're running around saving a lady that's tied up randomly.
Yeah.
And like there's so much random in this movie.
Did you notice who the lady was, though, they saved?
I was trying to figure out, was it the lady they saw at the beginning in the garage?
It was, the woman that the main girl runs into. Like, she runs into where she drops her stuff. Yeah. I was like, okay, that's who. I was like, I thought it was just some random woman.
So did I, because it's so fast that you don't put the two and two together, and you're just like, why is this lady locked up here? Okay, whatever. Let's just go with it. That's what you have to do with this movie.
Yes.
You're going to see Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. You just go with it. Like,
absolutely.
It's dumb. It's not going to make sense. Like, my wife was trying to make sense of a lot of the story. I'm like, well, this didn't make sense. I'm like, you're picking this movie.
Yeah, this is not a movie you deep dive into.
No.
This is not one you, this doesn't, no. It's just, you go with it, man. Sometimes you feel like Pooh's like magical, like he could teleport like Jason.
Yes. And the whole Halloween Kills ending where they're like beating on him, and then all of a sudden he gets, what is he, like 10 foot tall? All of a sudden he towers over the one guy and gives him his karate chop. What's with the karate chop?
What is the slap? It's a slap. It's 100% a slap. When he starts doing it to the girl who ends up not dying from this, I thought that was going to be how he kills that one girl that he takes from the pool area. He just is slapping the shit out of her, and you're just like, okay, this is how she dies, right? And then she does it, and then he just does it again. I was like, is this a special move? Like, Is this like he got so much energy? This slap power activate. Like I was like, what
Next
is?
time he can slap the half of someone's face off. That's
that was a cool effect. I gotta give a shout out to the effects on that. That face kind of like skin tear on the face when he like presses up against the window. I thought that was pretty good. And then what is up with CG blood? Is practical blood just really expensive? Because the CG blood in this movie is horrific.
No, and that is a drawback to a lot of indie horror is they throw this CG blood in there and it doesn't work. Like I don't know if you've seen the mean one, the Grinch horror movie that
I haven't yet.
It's just full of CG blood, and it took me out of this cheesy movie because of the CG blood. It kind of takes you away because it looks so fake.
Yeah, because they didn't even make it look like blood. It was like these little weird squirts that they would animate, and you're just like, what? Okay.
It just put a little hose in there and have someone like squirting it out.
Yeah, it was weird. It always throws me off with CG blood.
Yes.
Because even big budget movies do it, and you're just like, why? Is it that expensive to do blood effects?
I don't think sometimes I don't think it's expensive. Like I've talked to a few indie directors that they couldn't use real blood because of where they were filming.
Oh, okay.
They weren't allowed to they couldn't make a mess in this hallway.
Like they're filming at somebody's house.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this was outside. So I don't
see the excuse here.
Yeah, exactly.
They just went for it. They're like, we already have they already have that PNG file. They can just keep on pasting it onto the other scenes. I get it. It's fine.
We already bought the animation.
Yeah.
So we'll just throw it in.
Yeah. Oh man. I probably shouldn't be too harsh. Maybe I'll try to get the director on here. Talk about this movie some more.
You could ask him about the CGI.
Exactly. Sorry, I think we went off course here. I asked you what you liked about this movie. We just went on a tangent about everything.
I went on a huge tangent.
It's okay. But that's usually how this goes. I usually ask the guests what they liked, and then we just kind of go into whatever.
Just like this movie, I went on a tangent.
Oh Lord. What did you think about the actresses, our main group of girls that
I mean, honestly, they were fine. It was one of those that none of the acting was stellar in this movie. I didn't expect it to be.
It wasn't stellar, but it wasn't terrible.
No. There were a few that were, but for the most part, I mean, they were decent. Like it wasn't like real bad. I've seen real bad, and it just, you look at it and go, okay, how are they all gonna die? You just try to play in your head of like, who's gonna die first?
Yep.
I know the influencer girl, she's definitely gone, and then go from there. And that was one of the most laughable scenes to me, is when she was in the hot tub taking pictures, and then all of a sudden the lights start flashing.
Yeah.
And then you see kind of Pooh coming up.
Yep.
And it just, I think it's the mask and everything else. It's just like, we were laughing in the theater. I think everybody else was. But at that point, I'm like, I'm laughing my ass off, but I'm going with this. I'm on board.
I just have to know, the people who own this house, do they know that Pooh and Piglet are in the woods? Because I feel like they probably hear people at this house all the time, and they talked about it like in the there was like a little montage between when Christopher Robin and his wife go in there to see Pooh and everybody, and then when these girls come, they have like this montage where like people are disappearing in the 100-acre wood, and it's like, I feel like it's just people going to this house on vacation, and then they just end up dying from these two because it's literally just Pooh wandering through the woods, and he just hears laughter in the distance. He's like, oh, I gotta go see what's going on there.
I gotta go kill them and eat them, or whatever it is we do with them. And here, one thing that I was confused by: did he cry honey out of his eyes?
Was he crying honey, or was there always just honey coming out of his mouth?
That I don't know either. It was very, at one point it felt like he was crying, and it seemed like there was honey coming down, and a lot of honey coming out of his mouth too. But it was like, is his blood?
It was so unsettling though, when he's like feeding himself the honey, because he's actually, if you look at his hands closely, he's wearing gloves. Like there's actually rubber gloves to go over his hands. and he's just scooping the honey in his mouth like Pooh would in the. But this just is so unsettling. It was just. I'm like, this is disgusting, and I'm not gonna like be super nitpicky. You can clearly see that there's a person underneath the mask. You can see the mouth.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's not a big. I get it. It's just the way that the design is. It's a mask, but
and these characters don't talk because the story sets up that they made this pact that they were going to, this pact of silence after Christopher Robin leaves.
Yep.
And did they ever say what happened to Owl? Because there was Owl.
Nope.
Okay.
They didn't say anything about Owl or Rabbit, which were the only other characters they mentioned other than Eeyore, but we find out Eeyore is the first one to get killed. But Tigger is just non-existent. And there was a video I saw on YouTube. I didn't watch it, but I know that there was a reason behind Tigger not being a part of everything because technically he's a tiger, and I guess he probably would be the most dangerous of them all.
They had to save some for the sequel, I guess.
Bring Tigger for a sequel. He's the villain. But the unsettling thing about Piglet is he would squeal. He would constantly be like snorting and squealing as he's like walking around with Pooh, but Pooh made no noise.
But when he walked like he had like a slow killer with like dragging his leg and
dragging the sledgehammer behind him.
Yeah.
And the kill. Well, let's talk about
so many different things going on.
Yes. Let's talk about the kills. Let's go over some of the kills here. Cause some of them are good and some of them are just outright ridiculous. Well, let's start with a ridiculous one. And that is the pool kill where Piglet waddles his way into the water at the slowest pace possible, and this woman cannot outswim him to get out of the pool to escape him because he's
dragging a sledgehammer too, so he's going even slower. But instead of going to the side of the pool to get out, she's just continuing down,
the slowest swim ever,
and deeper.
And and he just smokes her in the side of the head with the sledgehammer, and she dies. I was like, you deserved it. You deserved to die there because you should have gotten away.
Absolutely. A lot of these kills, you're just like, okay, someone's gonna die in this pool, but just the way they did it is like, it's like old horror movies where characters are just dumb. She was just one of those dumb characters.
The horror genre is one of the best genres ever, but boy, do they put the dumbest characters in their movie. Yes. We have to fight, so they have to die, so we can't put all the smart people in there because then nobody's going to die. Exactly. So, but one of them that I really liked, which started off weird. So the hot tub scene lasted way too long of this woman giving, of course, she had to fix herself like 25 times. She's taken 75 pictures of herself. Then she sees Pooh around that corner and doesn't leave, doesn't get out of the hot tub. She's like, nah, I'm staying here. I don't care. But her kill, once she gets taken,
which again was also laughable.
Oh, absolutely. Pooh was behind the wheel of a car and Piglet is just... So here's the thing. I think Piglet gets that limp later in the movie because Pooh actually runs his foot over with the car during that kill because he squeals really loud when her head finally explodes. I think Pooh accidentally runs over his foot, which then gives him that limp. So I think that I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess I piece that together.
It was very laughable where it cut to her tied up on the ground, and then you see like Pooh behind the wheel, and it's like he's revving this car, like,
oh my god.
You're like Pooh knows how to drive.
What is going on here? So many questions. Oh man.
But it was a good kill.
Yeah,
I will give it that for sure.
The craziest thing though is like in the hot tub scene, you're expecting nudity, right? Like, I mean, not that we're looking for it, but I expected this woman to just take her top off. Yeah, because that's just the character that she was portraying.
The type of movie, because it sets it up earlier. There is a topless scene of the lady who gets, was it the wood chipper?
Yes.
She gets put into?
Which was egregious. That one was like, that did not need to happen. They just needed to throw boobs in that scene, and there you go.
Exactly. There are boobs, there's a kill. So it's like, okay, this is what this type of movie is going to be. Mm-hmm. And you don't get any nudity after that.
Nope. And this character in the hot tub was the one I thought was going to be. It's just the way that her character was being portrayed. But no, we got the random friend who just didn't get there in time and got lost. And then it's literally she's fighting with Pooh, and you can literally see Pooh just grabbing her shirt to purposely rip it in half. Oh, and you're like, okay, whatever.
Unnecessary, but whatever.
Yeah. And this is where you get the first hint of that really awful CG blood from the wood chipper as it's coming out of the top. And you're like, ooh.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. I guess.
But it was a mix of the blood, and then they cut to him and actually like they're spraying.
Yeah, he's actually covered
on him.
It actually looked good.
So
yeah.
They ran out of time, but they cut the movie and they're like, we need more blood in the scene. So maybe they had to add it.
The funniest thing though was that there were some scenes that were just drawn out so long just so that they could hit the runtime. Because the scene where they meet the guy who works at the garage and then his two random friends. So I like how the guy who runs the garage is an American. But this is in UK. Listen, there's Americans that live over there, but it was just weird that he was like that guy and then his two friends were like straight up out of whatever area they were filming in.
When those guys showed up, I thought those guys were going to be like the we're here, but we're actually working with Pooh kind of thing.
Yeah, we've had a deal for all these years.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought was going to happen.
I kind of had that feeling too. Nope. But this gets dragged out so long. It literally takes them 5 minutes for them to walk from the truck to face Pooh.
Yeah.
After they see him, and I was like, oh wow, this feels it too. Like, can we just move this along?
That one did, and the whole finale kind of felt strung out. Like,
oh yeah,
especially when he has her who you thought was going to be the final girl, and then even when he slits her throat, like. It took her a few minutes to finally die. Like
it was so dramatic. Christopher Robin literally met this woman once for 15 seconds when she saves his life, but he's holding her like it was his long lost love. Like, no! I was like, wow, you didn't even do that when your wife got killed, man.
Yeah, exactly. It did. It kept going. But you might be right. It might have been one of those. Okay, we're gonna make this longer so we get a run time.
Yeah,
which at 1 hour and 40 minutes, they don't really need to extend it too much.
No, they did that with the opening scene too, where you meet Christopher Robin and his wife, and the wife. It's just them walking through the woods. It feels like for 10 minutes, just going, and him convincing her that Pooh and Piglet and everybody is real, and she's just like, no, it's you just remembering it different because you were a kid, and it's like,
yeah,
why is this going on for so long? Just get to the place you need to go. But that scene was pretty good, where they go into kind of like the shack. And they have to hide from Pooh.
He's got a nice little setup there.
Yeah.
Too. Like he's got the little shack with all kinds of little like areas in his little 100-acre wood retreat.
Which seems to drastically change from the scene where you see Christopher Robin and his wife wander in to then they show that the 100-acre wood is literally in this vast wilderness. Like there are 100-foot tall trees. But yet, before it just looked like it was in someone's backyard that they just wandered into. It's like, we're eventually getting to the woods,
it probably was. And in Pooh, did you feel like Pooh changed sizes a lot? Like in some scenes, he seemed like he was really big and menacing. And some scenes, he's just like,
just normal
dude in a mask.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. And then, of course, they give you the shot you mentioned earlier where it's supposed to make him look like he's huge.
Yeah.
And we're like all little tiny things. And it was so odd, but you know what? It gave me a chuckle and I enjoyed it.
Exactly.
I'm trying to remember. A couple of the kills were just kind of nothing. There wasn't really anything important about them. I think, did somebody get split in half? Am I remembering that right?
I'm trying to remember what happened to the girl that was tied up, because
that was the one that gets split in half, I think.
Okay.
Like she gets the axe.
Yes. And the part that I thought was funny is when they untie her and then she looks at her face and sees that she's like, it's like, well, you only have one eye open right now and you're really swollen on one side. You would think like something probably is wrong with me.
Yeah.
And then she sees herself and I was like,
oh, okay. Oh,
but yeah, for the most part, like the kills weren't super memorable. There were a few, like the beginning one with the car, the machete sticking her to the wall, and even like I said, the end, it's just a throat slit, but you're just like, oh crap, they killed everybody.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that at all.
One scene that threw me off was when you find out Christopher Robin is alive
Okay.
and
Yes.
Pooh is torturing him and he's
Mhm.
whipping him. And I'm like, oh shit, we're going there in
Yeah.
this movie? Wow. Like, I mean, this movie was dark and effed up to begin with, but we're going to do a whipping scene like with Pooh. Okay, sure.
Whipping scene, and then the skeleton was assumed to be his wife,
That he's
right?
just
Like they
carrying
ate
around.
her.
Yeah.
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 And then I think the lady that was tied up, Piglet, ate her face. That's what it was. When she got knocked to the ground and Piglet jumped on her, and you hear him squealing and like,
yeah.
he's eating her alive.
Yeah. Piglet's death was also kind of anticlimactic too.
Yeah.
It was just a normal, like, oh, he's dead. He stabbed him. He's dead. But Pooh, that final showdown at the end where you get the Michael Myers type thing, like you were stating, like Halloween Kills, where, he got beat to shit, and then he kills those three guys in pretty decent ways. Like, I thought the kills were pretty cool on those guys.
Yeah.
And then he gets pinned between the two vehicles because Christopher Robin comes out of nowhere. He's just like, I'm here now. And he pins him up against that truck, and then you think he's dead. And then he moves the truck out of the way pretty much to then, with no limp, no, like, he's superhuman or he's super bear.
Good.
Yeah. And,
super bear.
Yeah. And he kills the main girl, who you get all this backstory about. Like, she's going through a traumatic experience, I guess. I don't remember exactly what she was going through. I think it was
she had someone broke into her house. And
right.
Was
that was
of her
weird.
And everything else. Like,
so weird.
They set up this whole thing of like, she's got PTSD of like people breaking in and stuff. And then it's happening at this house, but then you just go ahead and kill her anyways.
Yeah. It was like, well, then why did we get that before? But all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're just giving us something extra, or you gotta give us some more to pad the runtime. And hey,
well, just one more kill. We need just one more.
I wouldn't have questioned it if she survived, if she was the final girl. But because they killed her at the end, it's like, well, you gave us all that for nothing.
For nothing.
Even in the sequel, she ain't gonna be talked about at all.
Maybe she survives and she comes back in the sequel. Like, she can't talk, but she's coming after Pooh. But,
doesn't he chop her head off?
Yeah, I think he just slit her throat, and then Christopher Robin held her.
That was the other girl that she was in the vehicle with, and Pooh ends up rips her out of the car, and I think chops off her head. And there's the scene where the lights are shining on him and he's holding her head. If you see the shot, I was looking at some of the behind the scenes, and there's a shot of Pooh holding up that head, and it's the worst looking prosthetic head. But they're like, oh, well, this is gonna be in the dark, so you're not gonna be able to see like any details. So I'm like, oh, well, good on them. They know how to do work.
One of the posters, like, it's backlit with headlights.
Yeah,
and you just see that's
the one Wikipedia's
silhouette.
got.
So,
which is actually my favorite one, to be honest. I think that shot's really menacing. But I mean, the thing is they know what they were making. They know that there were going to be people out there like us who were going to laugh at it and make jokes on it.
Absolutely.
But I mean, they knew what they were. I mean, you're literally calling yourself Winnie the Pooh. You're literally saying we're making a Winnie the Pooh horror movie. They're not expecting everybody to be like the entire movie. It's just not how it works.
And I wasn't going in expecting like a Scream type of movie or something like that, where I was gonna be like, oh, I'm into this. I'm like, I'm going in for something stupid, and I got exactly that, and it worked.
100%. Well, I think that's about it. I don't know unless you got some more you want to talk about.
No, not that I can think of. I think we pretty much dug into this deep film.
Yeah.
As it will.
Yeah. Listen, you're going into this movie, do not expect story unless it's really unnecessary story. It's literally just a slaughter fest. It's like, let's get a group of people together, and these two, Pooh and Piglet, are just going to go around and kill them all.
You could have easily cut out the backstory of the one lady, probably cut a good 20 minutes off.
Yep.
In, out, you're done.
Exactly. But you know what? I'm excited for whatever they're going to do with the sequel. Now I'm invested. Now I want to see all these schlocky, fair use horror movies of all these characters we grew up with, and I'm really excited for whatever they do with Peter Pan. I am just so intrigued.
my kids are 10 and 12, and when they found out I was going to see Winnie the Pooh horror movie, they're like, why did they make Winnie the Pooh a horror movie? And then when I get home, like the next day, they're asking me all these questions of like, so what happened? Did you do this? I'm like, guys, when you get old enough, you can see it. I'm not going to tell you everything.
Oh god, it's so you know what? I came out of it having a lot of fun, but also a lot of questions. And you know what? Even if I don't get answers to some of these questions, who cares? Who
Yeah,
cares?
who cares? I've told people, I'm like, this is a type of movie you get friends together, you laugh at, and you have a good time.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Brad, I appreciate you coming on and talking about this
Yeah.
fun movie with me. Where can people find you? What do you got going on over there, the Cinema Guys, and where can people find you?
They can find anything Cinema Guys related at wearethecinemaguys.com. I got links to the show, our YouTube, anything, Cinema Guys related, or any podcatcher. And then also on YouTube and TikTok, I do a lot of Cinema Guys and Tubi stuff. So you can follow me along over there, because I like making content and I can't always get my co-hosts together. So that's why I started the Tubi branch of everything.
Tubi
I watch movies on
Tuesdays.
Tubi Tuesday. I watch movies and give recommendations of all the bad stuff.
Yeah, make sure you go follow all the website will be down in the description for you guys to check out. Make sure to go follow him over on TikTok, because he puts out a lot of stuff over there with a lot of fun recommendations on Tubi. I watch all of them, and some of them I'm like, okay, this is my night. I make a night. It's called my night shift playlist. When I'm on night shift at work, I watch a lot of movies, and I'm gonna check out some of these schlocky Tubi features.
And that's what I do a lot of time with Tubi, because Tubi is good, where you can just you can kind of put it on a lot of them and just kind of watch.
Yeah, it's not something you'd be like,
they're not deep movies.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an Oscar movie. We're like, okay, I got to pay attention to this.
Oh man. Well, Brad, again, thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I had a blast.
You are welcome back anytime. We definitely got to get you on for a regular podcast episode. If you want to follow us, we're at Dissect That Film everywhere. If you're watching or listening to us, you've already found us, so I don't know if I got to plug that. But also make sure to check out our latest podcast episode, which will be out on Friday, which is Alien vs. Predator from 2004. And actually, don't miss, Brad's actually going to be back in a couple days, because we're going to be talking about episode 6 of The Last of Us. So, Brad, you're coming back soon.
We're going a complete 180 from Winnie the Pooh killing people to The Last of Us, which is a completely different animal.
I think you are the first guest to actually be on more than one show in 1 week. So congratulations.
Wow, I feel honored now.
Other than my co-host, this is the first time for something. So yeah, on Wednesday, make sure to check out our Last of Us review for episode 6, which Brad will be here for. And then our Alien vs. Predator podcast episode on Friday. Again, thank you, Brad. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope you all had a good time. And until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Brad from the Cinema Guys. And this has been another episode of Fresh Cuts. I'll see you again next time.